Hey traders, this is Christian Farmer. It's Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your recap for Tuesday, the 31st, the end of the month. The end of the month. So let's start with earnings. I just went through all the earnings in our trading room. I always do this after the close on big earnings days. So that's why I'm shooting the video at 4:42. As a member, by the way, we go over all of the earnings releases real time. So it's really nice to see what everybody's doing. We go through charts. We usually do that on through earnings season. It's one of the benefits that Tribeca Trade Group members get is we go through all the numbers and analyze. So I'll go through some of them with you right now. This is going to be a very short video today because I actually have to get going. I have a meeting. But we'll talk about the big earnings report. Everybody was waiting for Zendesk, which is up. The biggest earning. I'm just kidding. This is a name that I played for earnings. It is up. I sold put spreads for this one, and it looks like it's up nicely. Just kidding. Apple, right? So up to 195. My quick thought as an option, my option. From an option trader perspective, first of all, here was the numbers. The only I'll say the negatives first was that and I think everybody has been expecting that phone sales are a little bit weak. So that's pretty much what you got. Just a little bit of a miss, and that's the only downer I would say in this report. iPhone sales units sold 41.3 versus 41.6, but look at the revenue. 53.3 versus 52.4, 234 versus 218. Wow, right? And then look at the guidance, 16 to 62. These are really good numbers, and it shows that you can't just say that they're an iPhone company, considering that they missed estimates on the phone units. But look at the revenues, and I'm sure they're generating revenues from all over the place. So really, I would say a pretty exciting quarter. In terms of an option move, so if you go to our earnings channel, which is where we put in, I did not play Apple for earnings. I gave a couple of suggested trades to members. I just didn't think that it was going to move. What I said, and you're going to think I say this hindsight, but I said this right before earnings. I said I don't think it's going to move too much. I said I hope it goes up. I said I really have no idea, but I don't think it's going to move. What the market makers were implying, a 4.4% move, which gives you a range based on what the options market makers were implying, 183 to 200, and we're not even close. We're not there. So it could keep going up. This was the trade that I suggested, which it doesn't look like it's just to the bottom strike. So this looks like it was a good no trade. Here's what I did. I did QLS and I did Zen. Those were my two earnings plays. I had a nice one from yesterday. Huntsman took off for $1 today at 55 cents. So pretty good stuff. IDX, I was looking at this one, IDXX, but no weeklies for that one. So all in all, pretty good. Just to kind of describe the day. Pretty much from what I talked about yesterday. I thought yesterday was a buying opportunity. I really do. I think when the put call ratio was as high as it was, I thought we were close. I didn't like how we exactly closed yesterday, but sometimes you don't get exactly everything that you want. Today was a little bit wishy-washy around 10 o'clock, and it seems like around 10 o'clock hour, things are a little bit. They're a little bit jumpy. The VIX gets a little bit jumpy between 9:40 to about 10:10 every day, and that was here. We started to kind of turn down. The Qs even went negative briefly for about 5 or 10 minutes, which it looked like, oh no, you kind of had a bad feeling for about 5 or 10 minutes. But if you powered through, you could see right here, we turned around pretty nicely and ended up having a real nice day in the Qs, up 1.2%. But you had to have a little conviction that things were going to be okay, and they righted themselves pretty well. So what did I do today? I traded some BABA. There were some BABA calls being bought right around the open. It was one of those names that probably about 10 or 15 names were probably buy candidates for me. So I kind of waited to see where the call buyers were going to go, where they thought things were at a discount. It was a little bit herky-jerky. I almost had, I felt like I had a huge winner going for me. And so I did take a target, again, a testament to taking profits, because I had a target at 340, paid 255. I also was wearing some Qs from last night that I got out of right on the open. which I think was a pretty good idea. And then I started to kind of pick at some things. Netflix, which I tweeted this out earlier. It got, all along I said where I'm looking for Netflix to get down to, it was 228. It got there without any hesitation. Now I don't know what Netflix is going to was going to do tomorrow, but nice to see it up to $2 because it did go lower at one point today. So I would say that could be a stop, this 228 low. This is a VPOC, Virgin Point of Control. It's acted very well around there. So, that's usually, once things trade outside of the range, they usually can fall to one of these Virgin Point of Controls where there was a lot of volume previously. And sometimes we see a reversion. So I'm playing a reversion at this point. What else did I do today? There was more AAL. American Airlines and airlines are very tough trades. So it really takes a lot for me to get involved. And they bought a big block of American Airlines yesterday and today, which I think I talked about yesterday. So another 9,000 contracts. So I've talked before about small trades and big trades. The small momentum trades that are sweeps that are like $40,000. They don't really get me excited unless I'm day trading or unless I'm already in something. But this gets me a little bit more excited. $1.2 million trade in AAL that went up. A few other trades. So let me go to, I was looking at Zen and when they bought calls. So what else did they buy today? They bought a little bit of cat. So this was a sweep, like as I mentioned, like a $50,000 trade. ITW, they bought some calls in this today. I want to talk about the industrials and the transports. UNP, big call buyer. This name is breaking out. They bought this. I don't know what the significance of it is, September 7th, but a pretty decent sized trade in UNP. So again, they went after, so they weren't just, which I was a little bit surprised because I thought we would see more buying the dip in some growth names. But we actually saw a lot of different plays, chunky plays go up. It was a $500,000 trade. So again, nice size trade and going in some of the stuff. Remember, we saw KSU calls, which I still think is a really nice setup right here. It's digesting a little bit. Let's see if it kind of puts in a bull flag. But you go to this weekly chart in KSU, and I think it looks pretty good. A lot of consolidation here. As long as it stays above basically 114, I like a long in that KSU. Look at all the consolidation here. So look at nice. Can call it consolidation. Maybe call it a base as well. So I think KSU has a lot more to go as long as it stays above 114. So today's best performers. A little bit different. The industrials. Remember I talked about the industrials, the big 15,000 calls that went up? I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't see very many other people talking about this. But this was, again, the option flow. But I'm pretty sure that I mentioned it on Twitter. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in yesterday's video. 15,000 of these August calls. So when something like this unusual, right? I've talked about the good and the bad with option activity, like something like this where they go after it multiple times tells you that somebody is positioning pretty nicely for a move in industrials. And that was up to, one of the biggest moves in a while. Well, actually, we had a big day here, but it does look like this is pretty nice what's going on right here in the industrials. And a lot of names, if you look at the basket, a lot of them were earnings related. By the way, I talked about this yesterday too. Look at the bounce, XLK versus XLF. Look at the bounce on the 100-day moving average relationship between this before I change the screen. So I thought that was interesting as well. But look at the participation, and I know, like I said, a couple names reported in this group. Eaton reported, Harris reported, XYL reported, a couple other names. So really nice. CMI reported. I mean, they all did very well. And again, a lot of names that were up over 3%. Granger, which reported last week, had a great quarter, up 3%, up $10 today. So that was your best performer. And then look at the biotechs come back today too. Really nice to see this in IBB. Pfizer monster day. There was just a lot of monster moves in particular days. But look at that bar in, if you did not get into Pfizer, and I understand up here. but you got a nice little dip into this, and if it gets back above this level, I think it could be really exciting for the larger biotech. But look at Pfizer today. I didn't see where it closed, but whew, one of the biggest moves I think in years, I think, for Pfizer. So that's pretty interesting. Also, Amgen. We were talking about Amgen yesterday in the room, having great earnings results, and I was really like a head scratcher that it did not move up. Well, today it got it up 3%. A few other groups. Take a look at this chart, and again, Harris helping this group out to HRS. But this is the Aerospace and Defense ETF. See, I said I was only going to talk for 5 minutes, and I'm up to 10 already. But right at the cusp of a breakout in the ITA, which has been consolidating basically since the beginning of the year. So pretty nice there. What else moved very well? It's the small caps. Everybody, thinking that there was that big rotation on Friday out of small caps, and they come right back. So they've got more work to do. They've got to take out these highs, but no major breakdown, and we're above yesterday's open, which is a good sign. Has to do some reclaiming, but I think overall, a pretty stellar day for and good participation. It's great to see some of these other areas participate. The more breadth we have, I think it shows the more strength of the market. So I'll leave it there. There's a ton of other things we could go over, but I think that's good for tonight. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.